Hi everyone, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time you're watching this video or listening to this podcast. My name is Dara Oladapo, and I want to say thank you for joining us today on this episode of This Dev Life. On the show today, we have with us Busayo. Busayo is a software developer that I've known for a little over 7 years now, I think.
Yeah.
And she's been an amazing developer. I've watched track record of success being a developer. I've had the opportunity to work with her also on some initiatives and projects. And we have on the show today to talk to us about our daily life as a developer. So, Busayo, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Busayo. I am a software developer, like Dara said, and I currently work with Zedcrest Capital. It's a financial organization, more like a fintech, and my stack is .NET Core, which C Sharp, and I basically do backend. So I can also do front end like Angular and React and all of that, but my main focus is backend, which I use .NET Core for.
Yep. All right. Okay. Nice to meet you, Busayo. Yeah, nice to meet you too. The 1000th time. All right. So we have Busayo on the show today to talk to us about our daily life as a developer, what a typical day looks like. So why don't you go ahead and tell us? So when you wake up, what do you do? The activities you do from day to day as a developer. What does it look like for you?
Okay. So should I say the activity like post-corona pre-corona or during corona?
I think we can have a mix of both. So what it looks like before and what it looks like now, and what you think it might look like if there's ever after corona.
Oh, okay. So before the whole lockdown and everything, when we had to go to work, it was pretty much straightforward. Like I wake up in the morning, and so the thing about me is I like cooking my food. So when I wake up in the morning, I wake up quite early to make, at least if I don't make lunch, at least I make breakfast. And sometimes I have time to do both, because where I used to work before the whole pandemic, the time was flexible, and then I had time to do stuff in the mornings. So I wake up and then cook and then get ready and go to work. And then when I get to work, honestly, the first thing that I do is I eat. Because I got to realize that eating helps me in the morning. So it helps me think and focus. It gives me this energy and this sugar level that you need to work. So I make sure that my tummy is filled. Then usually after that, we usually have stand-up. So after eating, then we have the stand-up. Then after the stand-up, go to our normal activities for the day. So we work with sprints and all. So I just check the features that I have to implement, or the features that I have to work on that particular day, or what I have to work on that particular day. Then I basically work on it. And as we all know, most times, some tasks you haven't done them before, so what you just have to do, just Google them, and then and then just check, okay, how do I do this, and then just implement it to what you're doing. Then when we start working from home, so I now realize that okay, I could actually do without food in the mornings. So when I started working from home, I could just work. In fact, I could work at any time, because before, if you have to go to work, then come back in the evenings, and then you rest and all. But working from home, basically you can just work at any time. You can just wake up in the midnight. So I wake up sometimes in the midnight, 2, 3, and start working, and then maybe sleep back and wake up again 8, 9, and start working. So that's basically how it has been. And then so daily, most of the time, just this whole Twitter banter that has been happening, that you're going to be writing endpoints and consuming endpoints as for the rest of your life. So basically that's what I do almost every time. You're either calling Remitters API or Paystack or Flutter Review, and I mean just writing codes around all of that. So that's how it works for me daily.
Pretty much looks good. So you call endpoints and create your own endpoints for other people to call.
Exactly. Most of the time, that's why. Like since January, that's basically what I'm doing most of the time.
So we can call you the endpoint expert now.
You can say that again. You can say that again.
All right. Okay, so that's pretty much what your day looks like. Wake up. Well, now you don't eat. You don't really generally eat, even though before you used to eat before the stand-ups and all sorts. I think it sort of resonates with me because one of the things I started doing early on as a developer is if I've not achieved at least one task in a day, I decide I don't eat until I know I've at least achieved one thing. It could be just reading a book or watching a tutorial video or finishing a task, and then once I do that, I know I'm free to eat and do any other thing during the day. Sounds pretty fun. All right. So yeah, so pretty much every day now you write code, you call endpoints and create endpoints for other people to call. And you get to work with a lot of people, stakeholders, business people, technical people, and of course the customers. You also have to think about them. What are the challenges you face every day as a developer working with people with technology?
Okay, let me say, like, sometimes with your colleagues, if maybe you have to like be taken from one project to another that you were not like maybe aware of, or you didn't start with them in the initial stage, it's quite like hard to like, not like hard, but it kind of takes time for you to try to, let me use the word, beg someone that, oh, can you just explain what this part does? I mean, apart from, I love reading documentation, and I love reading like documentation about stuff, but you know, sometimes there's some stuff that get like let me say, they don't really like, they are not really in the documentation that you need like human, you just need
human explanation.
Exactly, human interaction, just like 5 minutes. So, and then some people are like, oh, I'm busy, I'm working on this too, I'm doing that, blah blah. So that's like one challenge that I have. The thing is, they'll actually like still respond to you, but I just feel like if people like respond like immediately, more like immediately you need their help, it makes you work faster than how like you work presently. And then another challenge is, there was one time that recently, I think last month or so, we're working with this third party company like that we're using their APIs, and then on the group I was the one like asking most of the questions. It was me and my product manager that were on that group, and I was asking like questions and all of that, and then they keep saying that, oh, tell your programmer that you should do this, and I'm like, dude, I'm the programmer here, you guys like address me, because I didn't know what they thought I was. I was dropping my out. Do they think maybe I'm the documentation person, or I'm the product manager,
business analyst or something like that?
Business analyst, because I'm like, address me like I'm the one here. So that's like one challenge. I would say maybe as a female, there's this like stereotype that they just feel like, oh, because they just assume that it was my product manager that was the one implementing, and then I was like maybe another role. So that's one of the challenges I faced there, because there were some things that they could just like maybe have told me like directly, but then I had to like maybe speak to like someone else, and then person say, oh, can you implement this? And I'm like, we are the like engineers here, you can just tell me how things are. So that's another challenge. And another challenge is I would say like working from home, as sometimes can get boring, because you know when you're in because when you're in the office, like even though you can have like distractions and all, but there are some times that you have to like interact with your colleagues and then make jokes, and it's always like fun and all of that. But then working from home, you just know that you're on your own, and then after maybe a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting or a Skype meeting, when you guys are trying to like joke and all, it's not like the physical effect of joking and all of that. So those are like challenges
I think the one that eats me most out of those is the stereotype of roles by gender, and I think it's one of the challenges we face in this industry today, where people just assign a stereotype to you based on your gender or how you look generally. And many people seem like, you look like a program. Like, I'm here to make money. Well, of course I could, but if I'm talking as a business person, they'll be like, nah, you look like a geek because of all this, your computers and stuff. I like gadgets, but I might not be a programmer. I may just be someone that just likes buying stuff. And I think it's one of the things we really have to solve in this industry. Our stereotypes is pretty bad, and may God help us. Yeah. So nice points there, pointing out the challenges you face. Another one that hit me out of it was people getting to respond almost instantly to questions you ask them. One of the things I actually do in that regard is you do as much documentation as possible. So for example, if I'm doing, let's say my API is doing Hello World, I should be able to tell you all what the API is doing, the kind of requests I'm expecting, the kind of responses I get, the kind of error responses I should get. And if that is not documented properly, I will still have to come disturb you as the endpoint producer.
Exactly.
And I think developers should take note that document properly. If you write, for example, if you write .NET, Swagger makes it easy to actually have your API documentation, boom, up and going. As long as you write it properly.
Document for others, because I don't like stressing others. But some people just love stressing you. I mean, just have to deal with it. I mean,
maybe they just want to feel important. Like, they must always come back to me to ask this question. So I won't document it properly, so I can feel relevant and keep my job.
I feel so too. Then I feel some people are just lazy and are just like, I'm just here to code. That's it. I'm not here to answer any of these questions. Just look at my code and understand it, or look at maybe my request and my response, my call, and understand it. I think that's what some people do.
And sometimes it just sucks. Yeah. All right. So thanks for that. So the next section is actually to talk. So the reason for this podcast, well, at least season 1, which is the last episode that we're having with you. So this is the 25th episode of the podcast, and is to sometimes, or most times, let me say, advise people that are trying to get on the software development field to get advice from people that have been there for a couple of years and hear them out. So if you were to go back, say 5 years or 6 years or 7 years and started coding, what advice would you give yourself so that you'll be at a better place today?
Okay, first off, I'll say I'll be more curious and ask experienced people. So, because I feel that's the problem that most people have, especially, I don't want to talk like in this, I don't want to make it like a gender thing, but I'll say especially like females, they're always shy to like meet people, to ask questions. But it's very, very important, because that's the reason why people are there. That's the reason why experienced people are there, to help you, to carry you along, to show you the way. So you have to you can do research on your own as well, but you have to still like ask questions. And then the part of asking questions, you don't ask questions without doing your own research. So you have to do your own research, and not like, my code is not running, and you just like, my code is not running, and you just contact someone. It doesn't work that way. Like, at least put an effort and encourage the person that is trying to encourage you. So the person knows that, they're actually like serious. Because some people, like, they just like, it's not working. Just a trial, and that's it. Why not a programmer? I don't understand why you're like a developer and engineer when you not like try to at least solve a problem before contacting someone. So apart from like asking questions, you have to do like your own research on your own. And then let me still bring up the gender thing. For females, some people feel that it's only males. I mean, like, some females are guilty. They feel like it's only males that can help them. It's only males that are good in this area. So they only like speak to males, and then they only ask males for help. And then maybe if there's a female on the team, or maybe there's a female they see like on the internet that knows stuff, they just don't contact the person.
Go to them.
Yeah, they just prefer the male because they feel, males are like geniuses. While there are some that don't even want to interact with males, they just want to interact with females. I mean, it doesn't work that way. Like, it's a space, like, it's everybody like knows something you don't know. So if you feel that you can get the knowledge from this particular person, just like meet the person, no matter the gender, no matter what you think, maybe no matter what it is, just meet the person and ask for help. And what other advice? I'm trying to think here. So I would say for people that are working like in teams, understand your team members. Try to understand their moods, when to meet them, or when to say something, or when to work with them. Because you're a developer and engineer doesn't mean you should be like stone-hearted. At least have some empathy or some sympathy. Some people might be going through like people go through a lot of things. Some people go through a lot of things and they handle it differently. So just try to understand the people that you work with on your team and all of that. Then if you know something as well, help someone else. I mean, like, it's easy. Some people, they're experienced, but not that they don't know, they probably have forgotten. So don't feel that, oh, I can't assist this person because this person is experienced. So if you see someone struggling with like a little problem, you can assist. It even helps like keep understanding it. So you can just like assist the person as well. So those are then I would say when you start off as an engineer, you want to try out, like, it's a good thing, but try to like pick like a niche or a forte, like, oh, this is what I'll be doing. Don't just say, oh, you're doing ML, you're doing AI, you're doing data analysis, you're doing data science, data engineering. They also, I mean, like, it's good to be like jack of something. But pick like a struggle. Be known for like, oh, if it's this aspect, I'm there. So like, be known for that aspect. Don't just be like jumping from one place to another. And even if you're known for one even though you're known for an aspect as well, don't be narrow-minded. Try to like understand. You may not go in depth, but try to understand what like other people are doing. So when like interactions come up, or maybe if you have to collaborate, you try to understand like where people are coming from. And then and then I'll say for people that also like develop, like, I would say I was kind of guilty. So I was like focusing on just like development engineering. And then now, like, I've been trying to, okay, let me even understand the business. Let me understand why am I even like engineering? Why am I applying software engineering into this? So try to understand like the business you're working with. Also, like, it's not just about, oh, I'm implementing. I don't care about how it gets deployed. There's someone that does the DevOps. Just try to like understand, like, just little. You don't need to go like in depth, but just try to understand. Because like for software engineering and development, like, is wide, and you can't just be you can't just decide to just like stay in one place. So you grow by being good in at least one thing, and then you also grow by having a knowledge about like tiny bits of knowledge of other like aspects and people that you work with. So that's all for those stuff.
All right, wow. Thanks a lot for all those. That's quite a lot. And I think the part that hit me most was so for beginners, when you try to ask questions, so for example, how do I connect to a database? The first thing I will expect you to have done is to done a search on how to connect to a database using SQL, rather than say, Mr. Dara, I want to connect to my SQL database. How do I do it? Most times those questions sort of piss me off, but I try to say, okay, what I will do, the same thing I'll do, I'll go on Google or Bing, type that search, go to the first result and give you the links. Go read them up. If you have questions, come back and ask me.
Yeah, that's because what people understand. Like, you're still going to like Google. The person you're asking will most likely Google what you're asking.
Definitely. So we just Google differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a beginner, you should actually always learn to do your research before contacting someone. That way it's easier to help. So if you tell me, my code is returning error 400 or error 500, you tell me, oh, I've written this method links to here, I've tried to make it this way and this way, but it's not connecting. I tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it was not working. Then we can properly diagnose the problem and give a solution.
Yeah, it's even faster that way for both of you.
Yeah. And also, dear developers, I'm saying this to everyone, male, female, whatever other gender you relate with, try and remove the gender bias. Everyone is a developer in this field. They have the same level of knowledge, expertise. We have the same brain. We have the same bodily composition. Ask anybody the questions. They will definitely answer you. They are male or female does not mean they are smarter or duller. They are just people who write code.
Yeah.
And I solve these problems. Wow. Wow. So thanks a lot, Busayo. It's nice having you on the show. And I think a lot of people will actually learn from this. This is one of the most insightful episodes, I must really tell you. And being the 25th episode, the last one for this season, because to be honest, I'm trying to go on a pretty short break before we start the season 2 of the podcast. But I want to say thank you again for coming on. And hitting the call, even though it took like 3 weeks WhatsApp messaging to get you here.
Oh,
All right. Okay. So thanks very much. So people, you've been listening to Busayo, a software developer, and she's an excellent person. I've met her personally. I've known her. I've watched her grow as a developer since we're in the university, and I can personally attest for her that she's doing great things, and she will actually reach very much greater. So thank you very much for joining us today, and you can go back and watch all the previous episodes of This Dev Live. We'll see you again when we're back with season 2 of This Dev Live. Bye.